All right. Hi, everybody. It's Donna Shea, Social Emotional Learning Specialist at the Peter Pan Center here in Boxborough. Today, I've been doing a series of videos trying to be helpful during the times when the kids are stuck at home and not being at school. And today I have my friend and colleague, Caitlin Paulin here, helping me with some ideas for you for speech at home, because many of the kids aren't getting services or limited services who are on IEPs. So Caitlin is here. She's a speech and language pathologist at Neshoba Regional School District, working with grades 3 through 8. Do I have that right, Caitlin? Awesome.
Yep,
So
right.
I'm going to be quiet, and I'm going to turn this over to Caitlin and have her give you some suggestions on what you can do at home. Thanks, Caitlin, for visiting with me.
You're welcome. I'm happy to help. I know there's a lot happening at home right now, and parents are getting a lot of emails, so this is an easier way to get a message to people. So as Donna said, my name is Caitlin Paulin. I'm a speech language pathologist working with grades 3 to 5. So what I have are just some ideas and some suggestions of how to work with your child on different goals that they're working on in school into some activities that they are already doing or that are kind of everyday things you can do. So the first part that I just want to make sure to say is, when working on these things, make sure that you have already looked at your child's IEP or spoken with somebody on their team, just to make sure that you're working on things that they actually need to be working on and not just giving them extra activities to do. So the first kind of thing that I would suggest is for students who are working on articulation goals is to just use those strategies that speech language pathologists at school are telling them to do. Even 5 minutes a day or every other day can be effective. So you can play games like I Spy, just any game that you have at home where you're alternating turns, and for each turn they can say a target word or their sound, and just increasing repetitions. You can read books and have them look ahead. Oh, I see my sound here. Make sure we're using it correctly. You can even, if you have dice or you can download an app, you can roll the dice and see how many times you can say your word. And then whoever says it the most can win, or just, a way to just increase repetitions. For those that are working on fluency at home, so that would be something like if your child is working on stuttering or if they have bumpy speech, sometimes your SLP will say they're not quite ready to be working on strategies yet, but there are things that you as a parent or a guardian can do. So that is decreasing your rate of speech. What I like to tell parents is use Mr. Rogers' speech. Okay. If you've ever heard of Mr. Rogers, the way he talks is how maybe you want to try and talk to your child, maybe 5 minutes a day. You don't want to talk like that all the time because you have things.
Mr. Rogers.
You're not Mr. Rogers. So doing things like that, making sure you're not interrupting your child, letting them finish their thought, because then that just throws off the whole, motor planning, and then your child doesn't feel like they're heard. So working on other language activities at home is actually really great and really easy to do, especially because you're getting so many things to read from your educators. You can easily work in different WH questions, talking about the story, finding the main idea, using retell, making sure that everything is sequentially done and restated, using words like first, then, next, finally, transition words. You can work on using past tense verbs because it's not happening right now. You're retelling the story that you already read, or even, a TV show you watched, a movie, the day you just had, you can use that. You can also do things like Simon Says. That works on following directions. Can you sequence? Can you put things, where they are asked using different prepositions? So there's a lot of ways to kind of work some of that language. You can also, on your walk, compare and contrast houses. They're both houses, but that one has a green door and it has 2 stories. That one has a blue door and it has shutters. There's easy ways to kind of compare and contrast. You can also describe, modify I Spy, do 20 questions, play headbands. It's a way to increase that language as well as that describing language. You can also, listen to music. Sometimes for older kids, they're like, this is too easy. But a lot of times when you're listening to music, they're using words maybe you've never heard of. Do you even know what that word means? Try and look it up, see if you can figure it out. Maybe they're using an idiom or a metaphor, determine what that means. It's easy to kind of work it into language activities. And then a lot of what, I know there are a lot of concerns with social, especially, if you're watching this and you come to one of Donna's programs, social is super important. But if you're only seeing the same, 4 or 5 people, what else can you do? So what I have for suggestions are different movies that you're watching, if it is a full-length movie, or what I love to do is they have Pixar shorts that don't even have any words. There's nobody talking or minimal talking. And see if you can figure out the perspective of that person. Look at their facial expression, their reaction. Is that the reaction that is matching what's happening? Can you identify the zone that they're in? And what other people around them are thinking by looking at their facial expression, I think is a great way to look at that. And along those lines, you can incorporate that into when children are reading. What was the perspective of the other person that was in the book, the other character? How were they feeling when, that person said that to them? As well as, a lot of reading has idioms and metaphors, which can be difficult for some students. Really working on that and understanding, they're not talking that they actually ate a piece of cake. It was something was easy when they said it was a piece of cake. And then again, along the social lines, providing, appropriate feedback during conversations, saying to them, you're going off topic and I'm a little lost. I thought we were talking about X, Y, and Z. Just making sure to reinforce that conversation needs to stay on the same track and we both need to be in the group and thinking about the same thing. And then there's always games, because games work on, problem solving, appropriate tone of voice, different, winning and losing. So I think that those are a couple of things that can be done to target social emotional learning at home. But
great. Caitlin, that was amazing. So many suggestions in a short period of time. And so, yeah, I love how you also blend in the social, which is, certainly what we do here at Peter Pan. And thank you so much for your time and your thoughts and your suggestions. I'm sure the parents who see this are going to find them super helpful. So thanks for joining me today.
You're welcome.
All right.